I really thought they were going to fix this.
Laurie Adams talking about the darkest chapter of her professional life. Adams says her decade-long career turned into a nightmare after she sounded the alarm over bill-paying irregularities in the Department of Logistics at Fort Campbell.
And each time I went to somebody, I was pointed at as the problem, and stay in your lane, do as you're told.
When Fort Campbell soldiers return home after a tour of duty overseas, they get time off to reconnect with their families. After that, it's back to training for the next deployment. That includes field work like this, and often requires trips to other posts across the country. The Directorate of Logistics arranges and pays for all that. When Laurie Adams was sent to DOL last summer to help out, this is what she found.
Those were actually bills that were not paid.
Piles of unpaid credit card bills, invoices that by law are supposed to be paid off every month. And Adams says it didn't get like this overnight.
To my knowledge, this has been going on since 2008, and we have been making over 70% of the payments late.
And Fox 17 News has confirmed not paying those bills had a direct impact on some soldiers flying out of the Nashville airport for training. Laurie Adams says bills not being paid month after month resulted in more than 24 of the department's 30 Citibank credit cards being suspended. That left some soldiers stranded until new arrangements could be made. An Army 15-6 investigation prompted by Adams' complaints found outstanding balances totaling $1.7 million last September. But that probe only lasted 4 days and was conducted by the transportation officer at Fort Knox, not by an accountant. These documents obtained by Fox 17 News suggest the interest rate on one DOL credit card was 17.5% and 25% on another. Applying those numbers to the unpaid debt the Army admits, that's a one-time charge of between $297,000 and $425,000.
There's no excuse not to pay your bills.
Justin Owen is president of the Beacon Center, a government watchdog group that produces Tennessee's Pork Report, highlighting abuses of taxpayer dollars. Owen says you should be outraged.
Ultimately, we, the taxpayers, have to put an end to that. We have to hold the people we elect accountable and tell them we will not tolerate this anymore.
That just sounds like incompetence, and we don't need incompetence anywhere near the U.S. government, and certainly not in the military.
5th District Congressman Jim Cooper is the only Tennessee lawmaker on the House Armed Services Committee, which is responsible for U.S. military funding and oversight. Cooper says the Pentagon is the least auditable and probably the least accountable of all federal agencies, and he says it's a giant problem.
Every other federal agency, even secret agencies, are able to produce, real numbers, but not so much the Pentagon. So we've got not only a concern here at Fort Campbell, but one nationwide.
Now to the other problem Laurie Adams is alleging. She was instructed to record bills, authorize payments, and schedule disbursements without someone else verifying what she was doing.
There was no reconciliation. There was no, okay, these are all of the transactions we have, this is what we're paying for, this is what we still need to pay for. That was not done.
Since I'm not an expert, I went to see Trent Wautrous, one of Tennessee's top forensic accountants, to find out if those are acceptable bookkeeping practices.
Proper way to handle that would be to have segregation of duties.
Wautrous has conducted audits of both state and federal government agencies and says he's seen problems like what Laurie Adams described. He says if bills at Fort Campbell were handled the way Adams says, your money was at risk.
So when you're paying bills, you segregate who can authorize it, who can fund it, who will record it, for the purpose being to keep one person from doing all three and having the ability to fraudulently disperse money to themselves.
The Army investigator said he found no evidence indicating anyone was instructed to process bills by themselves, but his report didn't indicate who he interviewed or what they told him, which Fox 17 has learned is customary in 15-6 investigations.
I know I did the right thing by disclosing this. However, it's not felt like the right thing to do or the smart thing to do. Let me clarify that.
You paid a price.
Definitely.